Audio Jungle.
3 relatives missing since Friday, June 27. 3 men, all relatives, have been reported missing since Friday, June 27. They have been identified as 70-year-old Leston Duncan Sr., his son 29-year-old Leston Duncan Jr., both fishermen of Marcus Garvey Drive, Kingston 12, and their cousin, 25-year-old Kemarley Nelson of Salisbury Plain, above Rock St. Andrew. Duncan Sr. is of dark complexion, medium build, and about 165 centimeters tall. Duncan Jr. is also of dark complexion and medium build, while Nelson is of dark complexion, medium build, and about 5 feet 5 inches tall. Reports from the Marine Police are that about 5:50 a.m., the 3 men were last seen at the Duncan's residence in Marcus Garvey Drive. The father was last seen wearing a gray shirt and a pair of blue pants, while Duncan Jr. and Nelson's mode of dress is unknown. They have not been heard from since the past 11 days. Anyone knowing the whereabouts of the 3 family members is being asked to contact the Marine Police at 876-948-1778, the 119 emergency number, or the nearest police station. Water supply largely restored in Rose Hall, Coral Gardens following disruption, stated Mayor. Montego Bay Mayor Richard Vernon says water supply has been largely restored to residents affected by a recent disruption along the main pipeline serving the Rose Hall and Coral Gardens areas. I'm pleased that full normalcy has also been restored and residents now have access to water since the recent disruption along the water main within the Rose Hall and Coral Gardens area, Vernon said in a statement on Sunday. While most communities now have water, Vernon noted that areas such as Lilliput and Providence are still experiencing challenges, but are expected to have full access within a few hours. He advised that if residents in other areas are still having issues, they can reach out to the local representatives for more information. In addition to the water supply issues, roadworks are also underway in the area. Vernon noted that repairs to the roadway will continue over the next few weeks as the team monitors compaction. To assist with dust control in the affected areas, Vernon shared that the Jamaica Fire Brigade was mobilized to provide relief for both residents and business operators. I want to thank the residents for their patience and support as we address these challenges, Vernon added. Met Service predicts that Jamaica will see higher temperatures and decreased rainfall. Higher temperatures and decreased rainfall are the predictions coming out of Jamaica's 3rd National Climate Forum. The forum was hosted by the Met Service. It comes at a critical time for Jamaica as the country faces increasing challenges associated with climate change, including more frequent droughts, extreme temperatures, and severe weather events such as Hurricane Beryl. Principal Director of the Met Service, Evan Thompson, says it has been noticed that there is a trend towards a warning of Jamaica. He says everyone must play their part in addressing the issue.
Now we're at the point where we're talking about 1991 to 2020, which is a 30-year period that tells us how our climate is actually operating at this time and how it has changed from what we used to see 10, 20, 30 years ago. And what we have noticed is that, of course, all of us are experiencing the higher temperatures, and it has concluded that there are actually higher temperatures being experienced. And so there is a trend toward a warming of Jamaica, not just the planet, but Jamaica. And it's also showing that our rainfall is actually decreasing. It might not be at tremendous levels in any one year, but it is actually decreasing when you look over the long term, that we are having less rainfall and we are having warmer temperatures. That means that many of us have to kind of pivot at this time, see what it is that we have to do differently, and how we need to address some of the challenges that we face to ensure that we remain a productive nation and one that increases in our economic growth, for example. Because all of this ties together, all of it is important as we go through policy making, as we go through implementation of projects, and as we go about actually doing whatever we do.
4 volunteer nurses from Nigeria arrived in Jamaica. Volunteer nurses from Nigeria who who will serve Jamaica for 2 years, have arrived on the island. The 4 nurses joined the local health team as part of efforts to address prevailing human resource challenges in the health sector. In a statement, the Health Ministry said it welcomes the volunteers, 2 of whom are PhD qualified nurse educators, one specializing in community health nursing and the other in mental health nursing. One of the educators will be deployed in the in-service trained and education unit, with discussions underway regarding a possible placement of the other at the community health training program at the University of Technology. The ministry said the mental health nurse educator will participate in direct training of some 25 psychiatric registered nurses and 25 psychiatric enrolled assistant nurses per year at the in-service teaching and educating center. The nurse educator will also be involved in the training of another 150 nurses from other specialist areas at the same school. The 2 volunteers are specialist nurses, one registered nurse midwife and the other is an RN registered midwife public health nurse. The ministry said they will be assigning to other areas within the system on the Southeast Regional Health Authority, where they will be able to perceive specialist nurses in training. Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton said the arrival of the volunteers was made possible through the Nigerian Technical Aid Corps program and aligned with the World Health Organization's global strategy on human resources for health, which calls on all countries to ensure equitable access to health workers and to develop innovation, sustainable models for sharing workforce capacities. Dr. Tufton said the global health workforce crisis, particularly the shortage of skilled nurses and frontline providers, is one of the most pressing challenges today. He said for many countries, and in particular Caribbean small islands, developing states as others from the developing world, this challenge can seem overwhelming. The minister said the nurses' arrival is a demonstration of what is possible when countries recognize that no one nation's health system is an island. According to the ministry, Jamaica has dearth of specialist nurses, with shortages in areas such as midwifery emergency, psychiatry, pediatrics, critical care, operating theatre, neonatology, oncology, burnt care, wound care, cardiac care, and ophthalmology. While the ministry is pursuing a nurse and midwifery human resource of health plan in line with the reform of primary and secondary care, and which is intended to make more modern posts available at the entry level, the minister has encouraged RNs to pursue specialist training and has reminded of the availability of financial options such as through the Dr. Barrington Wynne Scholarship. Sections of Paron in St. Anne under curfew amid deadly shooting. The police have imposed a curfew in section of Paron Orchard, St. Anne, following a gun attack on Saturday in which 3 men were shot, 2 fatally. Those killed were 56-year-old painter Paul Brooks, otherwise called Paron, and 30-year-old warehouse assistant Lamar Lynch, otherwise called Bojo, both of Grove Village, Paron, St. Anne. A 45-year-old man also sustained gunshot injuries. Reports indicate that around 10:35 p.m. on July 5th, the men were in Paron when they were pounced upon by unknown assailants and shot. They were assisted to hospital, where Brooks and Lynch were pronounced dead. The security measure began at 6 p.m. on Sunday, July 6th, and will remain in effect until 6 p.m. today, July 8th. The boundaries of the curfew are as follows. North, along an imaginary line that runs from the entrance of Paron to section of Gaza District. East, along an imaginary line that runs through Gaza District to a road corridor. South, along an imaginary line that runs from the endpoint of the road corridor to a section above Killington. West, along an imaginary line that runs from Killington, leading onto Paron to the entrance of Paron and the road corridor. During the curfew, all persons are required to remain within premises unless otherwise authorized by the ground commander. To subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.